Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome in. You know what? Today is Trainer Talk Tuesday. Got some really good information for you. This one here came to our thoughts, or at least to my thoughts, so I wanted to discuss this. One of my clients kind of mentioned her weekend to me just this past weekend, and I kind of thought about some things that you can kind of take to avoid feeling the way she felt after this weekend passed. Because at the end of the day, we understand that fitness takes a lot of, commitment for the most part, and there are always going to be some hiccups along the way. So we just want to kind of talk to you guys about some of those different things there. And also, excuse the sweat, I just finished running some sprints and working out, because like the theme of this video today, which you're going to come to see soon, I just had to, practice what I preach for the most part.
Yes, guys, yes. So that gets us into today's topic for your weekly dose of Trainer Talk Tuesday: cheat meals, and can you afford to have them? So first, before we get into all that, we want to define what a cheat meal actually is. And that may sound a little crazy, because I think for a lot of people it may seem like it's common sense, but I think our definition may be slightly different than yours or the general public's. The reason for that is we would define a cheat meal as anything that brings the body harm or does not align with your goals. I would say that the majority of people in society would say that a cheat meal is something that does not align with your goals at that time. We add in that it brings your body harm because we are primarily focused on the healing of your body, preventative medicine. So that's why we add that in there. So keep in mind, you can reach your health and you can reach your fitness goals. You can reach your fitness goals by eating quote unquote cheat meals, right? But it is going to do long-term damage to your body if you consume those foods on a regular basis for long durations of time. So keep that in mind. That's why we add that it's anything that does harm to the body.
Yeah, guys, and just for clarity, because it kind of just hit me as she was saying that, there is a distinction between being healthy and physically fit. They are not the same things. They can be one and the same in some cases, but for the most part, a person can be healthy and not be physically fit, just like a person can be physically fit, but they're not technically healthy. Health has a lot to do with what's going on internally inside the body, organ function, hormone levels, just your overall balance amongst your overall system. Whereas physically fit is all about, what can you do for the most part? Fast can you run, jump? How consistently, how long a duration of time can you do these kind of things? So there is a difference there. You could be both, but a lot of people are more on the physical fit side than they are actually the health side, which is why we like to be very, very specific when we say brings harm to the body, because our level of standards of health, which is what she said, like we think about healing and then preventative measures. So we're always to the utmost, I don't want to say extreme, but we just, we hold ourselves to a higher standard, which is why I said coming onto this video, excuse me for the sweat, just because I had to stay disciplined and just continue to do what I preach and what we talk and promote for you guys to do. So let's go ahead and get into it today. Let's talk about these cheat meals and can you afford to have them or not. Let's go ahead and get into that one.
Yeah, guys, and I would say that we're going to break down this topic today about cheat meals into two categories. And so to answer that question, cheat meals, can you afford to have them? Yes. Yes, you can, but only if it fits into this first category, which is planned cheat meals. Okay? So planned cheat meals are things that are intentionally prepared in advance, as far as your knowledge about what you're going to do, when you're going to eat these certain foods. They are placed into your nutritional program, your diet, for a purpose. And when your cheat meals are planned, then yes, you can afford to have them. Because with planned cheat meals, there is absolutely no guilt behind them, okay? So no guilt when these meals are planned. They are precisely chosen at specific times of the week. And this is great for people who mentally need it, okay? program or diet plan, and you just know that like you're not gonna do well if you have to give up those weekends, or if you're having to compromise too much, out to dinner with friends. This is a perfect thing for you to add into your nutritional program, because it is a planned meal, a planned event that you know that you're probably going to stray off of your normal eating habits and then get right back to them as soon as that day or event, I guess I should say, is over. So I guess I kind of already threw that out there, is that planned cheat meals are meals and they're not cheat days. And that's really what we want to emphasize, because it's very, very common for people, especially at the beginning of their journey, that they might eat something that doesn't align with their goals, and then they think, well, the whole day's ruined now, so then they continue to eat those same types of foods that do not support what they want to do long term, and then it turns into like this vicious cycle. So that's why we want you guys to plan those in advance. If you have someone, or if you're someone that has a personality where, you need room for air, okay, we're human, guys, then make sure that you are preparing for that day or for that specific meal or event. And Nate's going to kind of take you more into how you do that.
Right, so absolutely. So like I said, my client just this past Monday, which was yesterday, she came in, she told me prior to this weekend that they were going to have a game night. It's going to be like some couples getting together, playing some games. Obviously, you guys know what kind of comes with that. There's going to be a lot of snacks and a lot of things involved that you typically wouldn't want to indulge in while you're trying to
Usually
lose
alcohol.
weight. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of those things we talked about in past videos as far as inflammatory foods. So foods like alcohol, the sugar, dairy, gluten, all of those different factors there that is first and foremost is going to cause your body to retain a whole lot of water for the most part. So you would think that after eating a lot of those things, especially depending on how much you eat, that, oh man, I just lost everything I've done and I put on all this weight. But in reality, your body is just retaining a lot of water from those foods that you ate, because they are high in a lot of different properties that just aren't helpful for the body. They're harmful, like we said in the initial start of this video. So she kind of told me about it yesterday. She said that she was kind of feeling guilty for the most part. And I told her, hey, look, I don't like people having the mindset, like being in this industry, and I'm pretty sure trainers all across America, or the world for that matter, would agree when I say this. I don't like the mindset of thinking that just because you're trying to live a healthy or lead a healthy lifestyle, that means you don't get to have fun. You still can have fun and live a regular life. It just requires a little bit of discipline and planning on your part for the most part. And then understanding that if you're going to make those decisions, that there's going to take a little bit of hard work in the next few days, over the next couple of days, to kind of really balance yourself back out, depending on how much of those healthy things you're kind of refueling your body with after you go do that cheat meal or that cheat day. But like we said, don't let one decision become multiple bad decisions. So if you're going to have, like, for instance, my client, she had a cheat, like, that was a day, like that whole weekend, they were just, planning, they were hanging out, so that turned into a lot of different things. But for the most part, a lot of people just typically, I'm going to have a cheat meal. I like to have a Five Guy burger or so every other Friday or every Friday, depending. But you only have it at that moment in time. You don't ever stray away and have it, Monday through Thursday. There's only a Friday or maybe every other Friday, because there's a certain level of discipline there, and you're understanding that you can't have that in a high abundance without implementing all those fruits, whole veggies and grains and lean proteins and anything else of that nature that is actually going to cause the body to have more of a healthy turnout from putting a lot of those things in for the most part. So guys, just don't get in that mindset that just because you're trying to do things differently and be healthy, that you can't have fun. You can still have fun. You just need to plan accordingly. And when we talk about planning cheat meals, that means you know exactly what that is that you're going to have and what that night is going to consist of, or that meal is going to consist of.
How your body's going to respond.
Absolutely. So what I was telling Anna, for the most part, I partake and I drink alcohol every so often. I like to watch it. I'll have it while I'm watching the game, something of that sort. That's going to be probably my biggest cheat thing, a candy bar here and there. Not really my thing. More so, I'm going to indulge in a little bit of drinking during a sporting event. But when I know I'm going to do that, guys, and I'm telling you to do this too, and there are days, and it doesn't have to be alcohol, it can be a multitude of any of the other inflammatories. First and foremost, when you know that you're going to indulge in those kind of things, the first thing you guys should be doing is hydrating as much as you can throughout the day before you partake in that. Because what that's going to help you do is immediately begin to flush a lot of those things out of your system once you start to put them in, so they don't stick as much and cause your body to retain as much water because you're not hydrated. But if you're already hydrated going into it, you can kind of alleviate some of that, and that can kind of help you get on that road to recovery after that night of fun or that cheat meal. That's going to help that be a smoother transition so you don't have those feelings of guilt.
Yep. And I would add to that, not only do you want to hydrate prior, if this is something that's planned and you know you're just going to eat like real nasty, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, make sure
Deep
that...
dish pizza.
Yeah, guys.
You guys know what that is.
But,
maybe like me and back in the day before I lost this weight, 30 wings from Wingstop or something like that. Yeah, I took down a whole 30 piece, a couple of them in my day, so don't tempt me. Don't think I didn't have it in me. I took down a couple 30 meals.
So if you know that you are just going to get like downright nasty later on in the evening, then make sure that you, like Nate said, load up on water, load up on fruits and veggies, high quality foods prior to whatever you're going to do later on, or don't eat at all. And what I mean by that is like intentional fasting, or be at a severe caloric deficit, because we know that these foods that we're talking about right now for our cheat meals are going to be high in calories. And that's really where you're going to mess up, guys. If you are just like in a caloric surplus, meaning that you're taking in more calories than what you're burning, that's where you're going to start really feeling the fatigue, where you're really lethargic. That's where you're going to start having some of these issues where you feel like you're just like downward spiraling, and that is going to typically be the reason why a lot of people turn that cheat meal into a cheat day, into a cheat weekend, into a cheat week. Okay, so make sure these foods that we're talking about, they're also highly addictive, which is why you should fast prior or get a lot of foods that are good for you that do not have those addictive properties in them, so you don't feel like crap, right? Because guys, we know when we eat these foods, we get tired, sometimes we get depressed, and then it's like this vicious cycle of, I want to feel better, this makes me feel better, I'm going to eat this food, and then I'm going to feel bad again, and then I'm going to eat it again and feel better, and it's just like constant. So make sure that you plan by being in a caloric deficit or fasting completely, eating high quality foods if you are in an eating window leading up to that meal.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great point there about caloric deficit prior to. Those are things that I do as well. That one kind of slipped my mind. But that is a really good one as well. It's like when you know you're going to indulge in those things, they have a lot of things that you typically don't want to have. And like Larissa said, they're going to be high in calorie as well. So you can really avoid that, having a severe amount of bloating afterwards by limiting the amount of food that you're going to have prior. But making sure you're still getting a lot of water in no matter what approach you take is going to be very, very important. Even if you're not eating, getting as much of water all day, that's critically important, because you guys know that the first thing you're going to do after consumption of a lot of alcohol, you're going to be dehydrated. So try to hydrate as much as you can, and then afterwards, something that I didn't really take on, that next day or those next meals afterwards should be as clean as you can possibly make it. Extremely lean proteins, meaning grilled up, sauteed or something where you cook most of the fat out of those meats, and then very, very like raw veggies. Like I wouldn't even say cooked for that matter. I would try to have them in a raw state so you can get the maximum nutritional benefit out of them. Because you know when you heat and you cook some veggies, they do lose some of those nutritional properties, and it depends on how you cooking them, if you're boiling them, certain things like that. So hydrate beforehand, caloric deficit beforehand, hydrate regardless if you eat or not, and then afterwards try to have as much clean food as you can until your body is pretty much back at a balance, and you'll be able to tell how you feel. And if you're working out like my client is at that time, expect to come in the gym and really bust your butt. Don't go into the gym the next day knowing that you did those things, you feel guilty. Go back in the gym and earn that feeling of satisfaction back. Get back in the gym the next day knowing that, okay, I get an opportunity to go in and really get to work hard at this and kind of work some of it off. That should kind of help you at the same time feel good going into the night. It's going, I'll get up and I'm going to just work my butt back off the next day and get right back to it. That is possible, and Anna did that yesterday.
Yeah, and that's actually the other point I was going to bring up. Nate is way better about this than I am, but to continue to be in that caloric deficit, or to at least when you do consume these foods that we're talking about, that you're at a point of maintaining and not a surplus. Workout, guys. If you know you're going to have, a crazy night, get a really, really good workout in that morning. One, because it's going to help you be in that caloric deficit, and two, when you work out, you guys feel good, okay? We've talked about this before. Your body releases happy hormones. You're feeling great. Mentally, you're going to do better because you're going to be able to say, well, I got my workout in today. And we don't want you to get to a point where you're like rewarding yourself. Well, I worked out today, so I'm going to eat a cookie. No, we're not saying that. But it does help mentally to know that, okay, I did everything that I knew I was supposed to do, that I was capable of doing, so I can afford to take this one day. And I think that's the difference in the mindset. Do you have anything else to add to this?
Oh man, I got so much. I'm trying to put all these thoughts together. I had so much in my mind yesterday when we was discussing this during her session. But go ahead and keep going. I can just fill in.
Yeah, so we'll just fill in. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the next point, which is the second category that we put cheat meals into, which are unexpected or unplanned cheat meals. And I would say that you cannot afford to make these, and I'm going to tell you why. Because typically when cheat meals are unexpected, they're unplanned, it means multiple things. One, you're reverting back to old habits. So maybe you're hanging around old friends, family members, and you quickly go back into old habits, and it's super easy to go back into old habits than it is to create new ones. So we want to make sure, especially if you're at the beginning of your journey, that you are developing these new strong habits, so you're not going to fall victim to falling back into the old you. Okay? Unexpected and unplanned cheat meals typically turn into those cheat days, cheat weekends, cheat weeks that we've been mentioning, because they are surrounded with different triggers. Okay? People have different things that may cause them to crave different foods, and a lot of that is emotional eating. Do you eat when you're stressed? Do you eat certain foods when you are bored? Do you eat certain foods around certain people? Do you eat certain foods to provoke a certain type of emotion that reminds you about your childhood, right? Maybe you smell something and it reminds you of, the home-cooked bread that your mom used to make growing up, and it makes you feel good, okay? All of these are triggers, and if they are not identified and planned and accounted for, they can be very dangerous when it comes to achieving your goals and really developing those new habits.
Right, so basically what you just heard there is something that we like to call also the domino effect. You knock one of those dominoes down, especially unexpectedly, so typically a lot of other ones like to follow and fall right afterwards. And if you're early on in this journey, we really like to kind of have you refrain from making any of these decisions, especially early on, like Larissa mentioned, because you want to be able to see a certain level of progress within your journey so that you can really, really be motivated and committed to that new lifestyle, knowing that it's working for you and it's not so easy to revert back. Because once you see a significant change in the number on that scale, or how your clothes is fitting, or maybe some numbers you hit in the gym, that's going to make you feel very, very good about that new commitment that you have, and you're just going to want to continue to build on that versus reverting back to other ways, and it's going to help you gain much, much more discipline. And what happens when you knock down one of those unexpected dominoes is it causes you to be very lethargic as well, because sometimes if you're not planning for it, and believe me, your brain is a muscle, and it's a strong one as well. And then don't underestimate the power of the mind, because if you're not telling yourself that you're going to do things and you do them, and you find out that, oh man, I wasn't planning for this, so like we said, you didn't hydrate prior, you wasn't at a caloric deficit, or you didn't get a great workout in that morning and do all the things you need to do to feel good going into that moment, what's going to happen is the next day when you wake up, you're not thinking about, oh, I need to go to the gym and work this off. Really disciplined people that can bounce back from it can. Right now, I'm kind of talking to people that will be new, entering into this lifestyle. The next day, you're just going to, oh man, I'm tired, I'm hungover, that was so much fun, I don't really feel like doing much today. And then what you end up doing is, you know, that was kind of good, let me go get some more of that. I see it happen all the time, and now that turned into day 2, and then that turns into day 3, day 4, then we're into a week, then we're into 2 weeks, next thing you know, we're a month, and then you're talking about, oh man, I didn't make any gains. You're talking to your trainer about how you're not seeing any changes or anything, or you're going all the way back in the other direction, and you're actually putting on weight, and you're losing some of the progress that you made in the gym. So really, really trying to keep a certain level of discipline. And if that means sometimes you just need to stay away from situations, I know clients as well who we worked with that say they feel a lot of pressure going on, you know, certain events or meal outings with their co-workers and so on like that. They feel pressure to not order a salad or something healthy while everyone else is ordering burgers and pizza and all these things that aren't healthy, and they don't want to be the laughingstock to feel like they're being judged or they're the uppity one at the table. But guys, if you're on this journey and you are committed and you're disciplined, trust me, that's going to rub off on the people around you more so than they're going to rub off on you. If you can refrain from not doing what's easy, which is partaking in a lot of things that are always easily accessible to you, a lot of these inflammatory foods and just harmful for the body in abundance in long term, then if you can be the person that is going to be disciplinary, you will watch and see that that can rub off and you can help the people around you by your level of commitment to your own health.
Yep. Guys, and unexpected cheat meals are typically associated with guilt. And that's another thing, guys, is that you do it and then, you know, we even call them cheat meals, right? You feel like you cheated on like a test or something, right?
We've been watching a lot of this Lucifer show, and I gotta mention this because basically when we talk about no guilt and domino effect, this is like Dante's Inferno. So when you talk about Dante's Inferno, you basically know that whatever you feel guilty on, whatever you've done in your current life, when you go to hell, you're gonna live that and repeat. And that's what we're talking about is once you have an unexpected cheat meal, you're gonna feel so guilty. You're going to continue to fall down that cycle unless you're mentally strong enough to kind of lift yourself from it. And again, a lot of people are. I would like to believe that I'm one of those people that can just flip that switch. But I've been doing this a long time. I've always been a competitive athlete. I've always kind of took my health seriously, or at least I love working out and being physically fit and doing things that people thought were amazing and cool. But people who haven't done this for a long time, you guys need to be very, very careful for making those decisions, especially early on, because you can watch that thing spin out of control real fast, and basically you'll create your own hell, and it'll be a hard cycle to get out of.
Yeah, guys, and like this guilt that I'm talking about, it's associated with it being unplanned. So because it's unplanned, you feel like a failure. You feel like exactly what it sounds like you cheated on a huge test or something like that, and you failed still. And guys, we really got to change like our lingo and how we talk to others and how we talk to ourselves about health. When it is planned, when these quote-unquote cheat meals are planned, it's not a cheat meal anymore, it's just your nutrition program. It's just eating in moderation. But when it's unplanned, then it is definitely and feels like a complete failure. And depending on your personality, that could send you into, you know, a downward spiral of all these other things happening. So if you happen to fall victim to like this unplanned eating that we're talking about, right guys, know that we're talking about progress, not perfection, okay? You are not perfect. We are not perfect, okay? Nate and I do not eat perfectly. And kind of be realistic about where you need to be. So for our beginners, we would expect them and we plan for them to have these meals and these events take place a couple of times a week, okay? Particularly the weekends, guys. We know that that's going to happen for a lot of people, especially in their beginning journey. For Nate and I, where we've been doing this for a long time, we're only talking about a couple of times a month where just go completely off grid. And that's okay because we can recover from it. So just be aware of that, guys. Progress, not perfection. Be realistic about where you currently are mentally in your journey and what you need. Now, that doesn't mean that you can have, like, 2 king-size candy bars every single day and fit that in. I wouldn't suggest that, but we do want to make sure that we're being realistic about where you currently are in this journey and not setting the expectations too high so that you are going to fail, right? We don't want you to fail at this. So be realistic and honest with yourself about what makes sense for your current lifestyle and where you are mentally. Also, guys, very similar to preparing for these cheat meals that we're talking about. If you have an unexpected cheat meal, you want to do very similar things. So things like fasting, hydrating yourself, removing the inflammatory foods, knowing these triggers that we talked about and identifying them so when they happen, you can recognize that that's what it is and you can better deal with that situation. And guys, it's okay to experience failure sometimes. Failure ultimately leads to success if that's what you choose. This is a learning experience, and as we said, you're not going to be perfect. So if you feel like you come up short in certain areas on your journey, then you can use that as a stepping stone to get to that next level, as opposed to just letting it completely break you down and you reverting back to your old ways. So it's really a mind shift here, like Nate talked about, like really getting that discipline when it comes to your eating, your workouts, and your overall lifestyle, because we fail all the time. Whether it's in fitness or business or anything like that, like I can tell you a million things that we've done wrong business-wise, but those failures have been really stepping stones to get us to the point that we are in now, that we're at now, and you guys can use those experiences to get you further along in your journey instead of the other way around. So it's really about perspective and how you look at it. So I encourage you guys to kind of be aware of that and switch it up, and don't look at these situations as something bad or something that's going to hold you back, and now you're, like talk to yourself in negative ways, like you can't do this. You can absolutely do this, and if you do things that do not align with your goals, just let it be that. Just let it be that, and go back to doing another thing, a conscious decision that's going to better your health and get you that much closer to your goals, because you can't look at the past, you can only move forward, and that's what we want to encourage you guys to do. So don't dwell upon these cheat meals. It's okay to have them sometimes, especially when they are planned, but don't let that be any type of excuse to not get you to where you want to be.
And guys, this is why I love sports so much, because a lot of what Larissa just said there, I just thought about so many different quotes from coaches or things I've heard just watching certain sporting events over the television, all types of stuff. So sports is a microcosm for life. So and that's, I think, why America, we love it so much. We love our Sundays when you got NFL football on. We love Saturdays with college football. We love March Madness with NCAA. We love the NBA Finals. We love World Series. We love FIBA. We love all of these different things. And we love it all for the same reason. It's because, like Larissa said, progress, not perfection. And I remember when I was a basketball player, I used to hate when I'll be working out or I'm hanging with some friends and they talking about practice makes perfect. I never bought into that concept. I always believed that practice makes better, because perfect does not exist. There's not a thing in this world that's perfect. Everything has its flaws. Everything has its flaws. I don't care if it's a piece of material, if it's an individual, if it's an individual, we know it's not perfect. We all have our flaws, but it doesn't exist. So what you can do is just continue to practice to be better. So when we talk about progress, we're talking about continuing to do things that is going to stipulate that. So when we talk about having our failures and all these different things we experience, that stipulated growth in our lives. And we've seen Michael Jordan, one of the greatest pro athletes of all time. I failed, that's why I succeed. Remember those things. Nothing is going to be perfect. Live a regular life, have fun, but that level of discipline that you can display, that can do a lot for the ones around you, more so than even yourself. Yes, you are the primary factor there in your own life, but when you're living your life like that, when you're very determined and you're focused and you're disciplined, all you're doing is setting a tone for everything around you, and watch people follow suit. I've been in this business now for about 6 years, and I've had at least 2 or 3 clients every year I done work with, and this has been the case because we work with a lot of people that are, they work in the marketing business, they are in the tech world, something that allows them to have to go out on a lot of business meetings, so they're always out for lunches and so on, and they never want to be that person. I know I just said this, but when you can be that person that sit there and show some discipline, you're going to provoke all the people around you to end up doing the same, because you're thinking that they're judging you from doing what's easy, for not doing what's easy, but they're really judging themselves because they wonder how can you do what's hard in a moment that things like that can be so easy. So always keep that in mind, guys. Just, you can be the determining factor for everything around you. I know it seems like it can be hard, but trust me, people are always watching you. People are always watching. One of the most amazing stories about this is one of my clients, I don't know if she's seeing this, but Angeles Martinez, she's a dentist for IU Health, and now she's been a dentist so long, now she's on the research team, so she researches new ways to perform different dental procedures. So she's been in the game a while, but when I first started working with her, she was adamant about, I can't eat these things. She called them the suits, all these males around her. So, she's a woman in that environment, one of the only minority women in that environment as well. So she felt very, very, nervous, and she didn't want to be that one person in the room that kind of throws everything off, knowing that everyone loves their pizza, they love their burgers, they love their hot dogs, and whatever else that we eat here in America that people love so much, that we all know, like we said at the beginning of this, can be harmful for you if you have too much of it and not enough of the things that we're telling you that you should focus on. So she changed her whole group around. So after a while, she said she was feeling like that person. She didn't do it, and she started ordering salads and bringing her own meals. Next thing you know, she tell me a couple months later, now the whole group, everyone, they wanted a salad with whatever they was getting. Then eventually that salad turned into everybody just started having healthy meals in general. And now, if I speak to her, I'm pretty sure, I know it's probably still going on, it hasn't been that long, but she changed all those people's lives. And how do you think that works for those people in their lives going at home? I know a lot of women. I was talking to another client today, my guy Rob, who was telling me that one of his friends, he likes to go out and do a lot of rafting on all these different rivers. He was in West Virginia. But one of his long-term friends for about 40 years is starting to see some signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. He's losing his memory. And he told me just this morning that they were sitting out, just finished up riding the river. His buddy was sitting on a rock, and he called to his girlfriend and he said, "Hey babe, I can't find my shoes." And she started looking all around. She's kind of, a little bit, annoyed with the idea of it. So he said that she kind of got a little annoyed, looked around, didn't find his shoes in the car. Rob said he walked around. His shoes were sitting on a rock right next to him. So literally, he said, and this is a guy that's been very healthy and strong and just been able to do these rivers. He's very good. They can still go out and do them even with the memory damage right now, because that muscle memory just comes into play. So once he's out there, he can kind of react and do things just out of instinct because he's been doing them for so long. So that muscle memory just kind of takes place once he's on a river. But he said that was a moment that was kind of big, kind of made him feel a certain way. But I told him, I said, well, I wonder, is that wife or that girlfriend thinking, if they've been together for 20 years, I wonder is a little bit of her annoyance with that situation is that maybe she talked to him a lot, because I know Larissa does this with me. Hey, be careful, be moderate with these things, maybe start working out. I know our women are very, very, adamant to us men about doing things that is going to take care of our health long term. So I was telling him maybe it's because they were looking forward to this time of their lives, and now that they can retire, they can go out and do these things that you guys do every weekend. Now it turns out to her just being a caretaker while they're doing it versus them enjoying this time together. So maybe she's a little resentful for that, but just be glad that she's still around right now. But that's just a tough situation, guys. So just all those things just to consider and think about, and just all these things we hear, that's what made this topic come to fruition today about why we wanted to address it, at least myself, and why you guys can still live a good life and have fun. And I just hate the idea of people thinking that, oh, I can't have fun, I gotta do this is boring. There's a lot of things that's fun about being healthy, and the first things first is that you get to live a long, fruitful life. That should be the most things that you want to be around for the duration, especially if you have kids. You want to watch them grow up. You maybe want to watch them have kids and watch their kids grow up, so on and so on, guys. So progress, not perfection. The fasting, the removing the inflammatory foods, everything we spoke about. There's been a lot of information in this one. Maybe watch it back 2 times. Share this out to your friends. Let this information get out there, and understand that you can have fun, you can do these things, but you need to plan for them. They don't need to be unexpected. There needs to be a set time, a set date, and some consistency there when you're doing them and when you're not doing them, and making sure that you're doing a lot more of that good stuff than you are of that bad stuff.
That's ultimately what it comes down to, guys, because as long as you're consistent in this, you will get results.
Absolutely.
Now, it may take you longer to get results if you're adding more of these things in versus not than, you know, the next person, but you will get results if you are consistent. And as Nate mentioned, if you are doing and eating more of the healthy stuff, you know, more of things that are going to align with your goals, if you're partaking in those things more than you're not, you're going to get results, guys. You are going to.
And remember, when she say results, there's 2 different kinds. If you want to be physically fit, okay, have your cheat meals, just track your macros and the amount of calories you have. Bodybuilders do it all the time, and you can have a nice looking body. But if you want to be healthy, meaning that your body is perfectly balanced out, you're not required or needing to take all these different medications, or you just feel a certain type of tiredness and lethargicness every day, then you need to be very, very adamant and disciplined about the quality of the things that you're doing on the day-to-day basis with a certain level of consistency.
And if you want to be healthy and fit, hire us at Never Settle Fitness. That was my little tagline, guys. Okay, we're going to end it right there. So if you are watching this on replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. Let us know that you did join in at some point. And let us know what you guys do best with. Do you like incorporating and planning cheat meals? Have you never thought about doing it? Do you want to do it now? What's your favorite cheat meal? Let us know in the comments. Send us some love, guys, and join us here every Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Trainer Talk Tuesday.
One more thing to mention, and kind of hit me when you said it, this will be fast. But you will also see that if you are very disciplined and you kind of take your time before you incorporate, you guys might come to see that you don't even want to have cheat meals because you found so much satisfaction in doing things the natural way, and your taste buds adapting to just regular fruits and veggies, that stuff don't even taste good, or you don't even have those cravings anymore, and now you don't even want to have it. And that's just natural as well, because like we said at the start of this video, those things can only do harm for you, especially when you're you're consuming too much of it. But guys, that's it. Everything Larissa just said. Next Tuesday, same time, same place. And as always,
never give up.
Never lose hope.
Never settle.
All right, and I hope you get to see this one. This one was all for you today. So thanks for the idea of this topic this week. So hopefully you get to see this and share it with some of your family and friends.